Happy birthday to me! Today's my birthday, and I am very proud of the fact that I made it this far. So I decided to reward myself with a birthday card. From me to me. Why not? I'll be using a very limited color palette, and that is because I would like to experiment more with color mixing, something I should have done a long time ago. In fact, at the beginning of my watercolor journey, but it's never too late. And to come up with this paint palette, I went through my stash and pulled out a set of 3 cool primary colors and warm primary colors. And I also included some neutrals, black and white, and of course gold, because after all, you are talking about my paint palette. So I have to have gold in there. And I will be doing a separate video on this palette as well as color mixing, but for now I feel I don't have the savvy necessary for me to deal with this topic in an intelligent way. So let me do my experimenting first, and then I promise it will come. The first thing I did for this painting is come up with a color combination, and I've decided on coral and denim blue, which are not colors that are ready-made in this palette, so I had to mix them myself. So to get the coral, I mixed azo yellow, bright red, and opera pink together with a little bit of white. For the denim blue, I used azo yellow as well, ultramarine blue, and Payne's gray, just to dull down the color, and it worked perfectly. The next step was for me to come up with the composition, because I knew I was going to layer the balloons, and because watercolor is a transparent medium, sometimes it can be tricky. So what I did is I did a little bit of a drawing in my sketchbook and mapped out the colors that I wanted to use. When I took note of the colors, I also took note of the value of each of the colors. The other thing that I was mindful of was to let the colors dry before I added another one on top, because of course I didn't want the colors to mix. I wanted them to be distinct. This can be a little bit of a challenge for people who are impatient like me. I did use my heat tool to set the previous colors, but what I would recommend if you're doing something like this is to do multiple cards at the same time. Just lay them down on your workstation and then paint one balloon on each of these, and by the time you get to the end, depending of course on how many that you're doing at the same time, chances are the first one will be okay to work over. So that's a cool trick. And I honestly think that the balloons are a generic topic that could be used for many occasions. So you can never have too many of these cards in your stash. I think my biggest challenge in color mixing is how to be consistent. And of course, as you can see now, I have mixed green, which I didn't want. Because I'm not mixing in large quantities of each of the colors intentionally, just so I can practice. But I made it work eventually. But I also feel that even if I had used that green and added it onto the painting, it would still have been okay, because I'm using the same 2 colors at the base. Unless I'm totally wrong about this, but I think it would have been okay, because the foundation is the same basically. After I drew that first string, I realized that I was not consistent with reality, which was not the aim to begin with anyways. As you can see, my balloons are oddly shaped, and that's a style thing. However, the strings, if you think about a bunch of balloons that you're holding in your hands and they're filled with helium, which is the only reason why they would stay in the air anyways, there would be a tension on the ribbon. Therefore, the ribbon would not curve. So that's one little bit that I regret on my painting, but again, it doesn't matter. It's my own birthday card. It really doesn't matter. The fun of this painting was to pattern inside those balloons. At the beginning I was saying that balloons are so versatile. They are, because you can use them for pretty much any occasion. I'm thinking even a wedding or an engagement announcement, a birth announcement, a gender revealing announcement, a whole bunch of different things like congratulations, whatever. And what I wanted to add in that bigger balloon was a message to myself. So, and this is also at the same time patterning. I've used this technique in a previous video. I will put the link in the iCard there. It's just using letters, tiny letters, as decoration. And what I wrote was happy birthday to me. So imagine, for instance, if you're doing a card for a gender reveal, like a baby gender reveal kind of thing, and you're painting the balloons all kinds of blues, for instance, and then inside one of the balloons you can say it's a boy, you know, with all the other topics. You could do that, and I think it's a cool thing to convey your message. I went a little balloon crazy on this card, well, because it's mine and I used it as experimentation. And what I wanted to do is incorporate some more graphic elements, some more doodling, without having to add more color. I took a lead pencil and I traced 3 other balloons, and when I patterned inside of them with the pencil, not the pencil, with the Muji black pen, I made sure to stay inside those lines, and when I was done, I just erased the pencil lines, and I think it's a cool effect. Gold dots to finish off this card. Of course, you probably knew this was coming. And here are all the ones that I did. I think they're so cool. They're fun to do. I highly encourage you to try this especially when your creative juices are not flowing really well. A balloon is such a generic shape. It's so easy to make, and mine are, the edges are wiggly at some, you know, in some parts, and I don't mind that. In fact, I think they're more interesting. I think this is a great way also to practice your composition skills, and also to come up with different patterning options and doodling. So please give it a go. Let me know which one is your favorite. I'm very curious about that. I do have a favorite, so I want to know which one you're picking out. Thank you so much for watching. I also want to say a huge thank you to my awesome patrons. The Patreon family is growing. I'm very happy about that. I appreciate you all, Patreon or YouTube watchers. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Feel free to leave some comments down below or even questions, and I will see you soon.